Zulnoon, the great Egyptian Sufi, was said to have gone insane. Everyone around him had been irritated by his uncontrollable giddiness. His followers, on the other hand, were patient and continued to put up with his progressively intolerable behavior until he became absolutely insufferable. When his rage grew contagious and began to affect the behavior of the people he saw on a regular basis, it became clear to his acquaintances and followers that Zulnoon needed to be committed to a sanatorium. Although the great Sufi could have kept in check and restrained his impetuous conduct and avoided being dragged into a jail-like hospital, he refused to surrender to the will of people who lacked his depth of knowledge. Zulnoon, who had been driven insane by the sheer amount of people who were constantly around him, was overjoyed to finally find tranquility at the hospital. He spent his days reading and studying his favorite works in silence, content to be left alone. His serene state, however, did not last long, and those who regarded themselves to be his close friends and companions could no longer take his absence and chose to pay him a visit. When Zulnoon noticed these individuals, he knew they were arriving. He was sitting quietly in the sanatorium's garden reading. The calm and collected Zulnoon of recent weeks were converted into a shrieking and swearing lunatic in the flash of an eye. His acquaintances were first unconcerned, believing they had seen him in this mad state and dismissed it. However, the old Sufi saw that his typical raving was no longer functioning and decided to put his so-called pals to the ultimate test. He began spitting and cursing as he ran about the garden, picking pebbles and sticks and flinging them at the soldiers. They initially assumed that Zulnoon's frenzied activity would not last long, but they quickly learned that despite his frail appearance, he was far stronger and livelier than they, who were still young men. It didn't take very long for him to accomplish his goal of frightening the guys and driving them off the sanatorium premises. As he saw the men rush to avoid the projectiles he'd flung at them, he burst out laughing. "I spit on you and your so-called friendship," he cried as he waved his arms madly around him. "A good friend will put up with any kind of behavior. He won't abandon you after a few snide remarks and a few stones thrown. What kind of person would consider you to be a friend? Go away and good luck to you all." Zulnoon sat peacefully on his favored bench in the sanatorium's garden, reading his favorite treatises on friendship, now that he was alone once more.